welcome again to another broadcast. Hope you guys had a great day. Today is Wednesday, February the 12th, 2025. And man, we got a lot we're going to be talking about this evening. So I hope you guys got yourself your evening drink of choice, whatever that is, coffee, tea, something else, or whatever. And I just want you to sit back, relax as we take a calm approach and sometimes comedic approach to today's news and what's been going on and some of the things we should be, keeping our eyes on. But this is a no fear zone. I'll tell you right now, we ain't gonna be scaring folk up into anything. If you want that, go somewhere else. So anyway, so that's gonna be that. So we're just gonna give people about another minute or so, and then we're gonna jump right in. All right. Meanwhile, sit back and just enjoy. Everybody that's in the chat. So glad that you guys can join us, and welcome to this broadcast here. Again, like I said, really appreciate you guys being here. And we got a lot we're going to be trying to get through. I was trying to categorize things like I try to do, when I do these broadcasts, but it's kind of like a little bit here, a little bit there, that kind of thing. And that's kind of how we do these news broadcasts anyway. We try to cover a little bit of everything. So like I said in the description, I believe, of this video, I will, at the end of this broadcast, what I'll do is I'll chapter everything out for you. So if you don't get a chance to watch the whole live broadcast, I understand. That's fine. Things come up. You fall asleep, whatever. You can come back and then you can just find the section that you're interested in and click on that, and then you can just keep it moving there. So anyway, we're going to jump right in with our first story. Man, I tell you, this has been, I don't know about y'all, but this month, well, I still think I'm in January. We're in February. We're in February now. Man, let me tell you, it's been something else. This has been something else here. This last month, we have been witnessing some things happening so quickly, of course, on the political front. And Trump did say, he said, man, listen, once I get in there, he said it's going to blow you away. He said, we're going to be moving so fast. He said this. He was saying this, and he was not lying. Usually people say stuff like that. It's like, yeah, okay. He may drop a few bills here and there. Nah, this is like, this in of itself is a whole movie. I mean, to sit back and to witness this kind of stuff and to see the amount of things that are being uncovered and all of that. And it's just really something. It's really something to sit back and to witness and to see other people and how they are ferociously reacting, and want you to think that, oh, it's the end of the world and, all of this other stuff, right? And want to turn on the fear game. And that's what we're going to talk about in our first story. So on the political front, for sure, there's been a lot come. Did y'all hear? There was one of the things that came out yesterday. Elon Musk mentioned that it's called Iron Mountain. It's in Pennsylvania. And it's a mountain where they actually keep all the paperwork for federal employees who are retirees. And it's like deep in the mountain. This is like in Pennsylvania somewhere. And And they still using like the, what you call it, the, they're putting the paperwork in manila folders. They are, there's like, you think of the last scene. Many of y'all seen the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark. At the end, you remember there was like this long shot at the end where it was like all these boxes in this warehouse or whatever. Well, that's true. They have something like this. It's in, like I said, it's in a mountain. It's called lime. I'm sorry. It's a lime. I think it's limestone. It's in this mountain. They refer to it. They call it Iron Mountain. And this is where they keep all the paperwork for people who are in retirement, going into retirement, whatever, federal employees. And they keep it there. And they have about 700 to 1,000 employees that work in this mountain, and their job is just to manage and to keep watch over this paperwork that's in this mountain. I was trying to find this picture. Let me see if I can find one for you right quick. I'd be thinking I bookmark stuff and then I can't find it. Oh, here. Well, here's something right here. I'll just show you this one here. Hold on. Give you an idea. Let me bring this up here on the screen. Not that. Here we go. Right here. Yeah, Iron Mountain. You see this? And this is where they keep all this paperwork for like federal employees and their mine workers. And it was another picture that I found. They said the way they get around, because it's so vast, is that they ride a bike. They're like some of the employees got like tricycles that they ride. I mean, this is so freaking surreal. Like you would think this is like in the 1950s. Well, guess what? It is. It's 1950s stuff. But I've been telling you this, that, like I said, when the federal workplace, government workplace, these individuals, they are getting their wake-up call. Those of us that have been in the private sector for all this time, we are already seeing and been witnessing firsthand just how quickly the job place is changing. It's changing rapidly. I just posted an article that talked about how managers now, they prefer to hire AI, meaning they prefer to look for ways that they can solve their employment issues or their work needs, labor needs with AI versus hiring people that are coming out of the Gen Z group. And so there are people who are losing jobs left and right. It's becoming more and more difficult for people who are coming out of school to find employment because of this technology. And when I tell you, it is blowing by breakneck speed, man. It really is. Let me share this and then we'll get to the main story. Then we got a lot of other stories, but I do want to mention this to you because I was going to talk about this later on. But I was looking at this video. I was going to play it for you, but it's got some music in it and, whatever. I don't know what will happen. But basically, they were talking about Elon Musk. They were talking about his different projects that he's working on. And one of which, of course, Tesla cars. But Tesla, the cars, really isn't that's just a tiny smidgen of what he does. At the same time, what he was really working on are these humanoid robots. Okay, these humanoid robots. Some of y'all may have seen these things here. Let me see. I might be able to play it and not, but you won't hear it. But I'll just show it on the screen for you, just to give you an idea and of what I'm talking about here. All right, so this is it right here. All right, so I'm gonna play it, but you won't hear it. You see what's on the screen here? Oh, what was on the screen? This is what he's been focused on. Let me see if I can get some more here. Hold on the screen. Okay, here we go. This stuff here. Now, this looks like, this ain't going to happen in another 20, 30, 40 years. What you're seeing right now on your screen in this part of the video, they're talking about, this is in his factory. Like right now in one of his factories, he's actually using these autonomous robots that you have right here. And they are testing them right now as we speak. Okay. And what these robots, their functionality is going to be is pretty much to do the labor that you will find in any manufacturing plant. So just imagine you going into a factory and you don't see people, you see these things walking around, just like a movie. And so he's testing them on a low scale right now. But what he's saying is that his goal is within, I think by the end of next year, he's going to have pretty much one factory that's going to be operated pretty much by these robots that you see right now. That's the goal. And he said by 2027, he's already got companies, huge manufacturers that are lined up and who are going to buy in and to replace their workers with these robots that you just saw. Okay. And then, so by 2030, the manufacturing workplace is going to look very different. So when Trump was saying, that's what I remember when he was on the campaign trail saying, we're going to bring manufacturing back. I was like, we're not going back to the days of what's her name? Rosie the Riveter. We're not going back to those days, okay, where, you got your lunchbox and your wife just packed you a ham sandwich, and some chips and something to drink in your thermos, and then, you wearing your overalls and you're going to be tinkering and stuff. No. Those days are over. We're not going back to those days, okay? The new day that we're in right now are robots, okay? Real robots, autonomous robots, all right? And someone mentioned, they said China is far more advanced. Yeah, exactly. China's been doing this. And so this is where we are today. And these robots, guess what? There is no protesting. There are no unions with robots. They don't need to unionize. You want to know how the technology that's used, why he's doing the cars. And this is what they were talking about in the video. Tesla cars, the way they work, you know how you have the Tesla network, right? You got a network of these cars, right? Well, the Tesla cars, they actually operate on a network. And so why are they operating on a network? Well, it's for a lot of reasons, but one of which is that these cars are designed, all these, regardless if it's the truck or the car or whatever, they are constantly collecting data. When they're on the roads, they are collecting data that's all around them. So one of the things they do is if there's some kind of nuance that they encounter on the road, maybe it's a construction site, maybe it's the way the construction site was designed or whatever, and it's something a little bit, I never knew about this, it will learn from that experience and it would immediately shoot it up to the network where all the other cars that are attached to it will learn from it and they all learn together. So it's a shared network with all these cars. This is how the technology is working. It's a self-learning technology. So when we're talking about AI and all this stuff, AI period is designed to learn and to get smarter and smarter and smarter. And the goal is to ultimately replace you. Now, why am I mentioning this? Why is it so important? Because as I mentioned in a post I did, not today, but yesterday, is that for many of you, you are going to need to start thinking ahead on, for those of you who are younger that are getting into the job in the marketplace or trying to get into it, for those of you who are middle-aged, even those of you who are out of it, like it or not, you are going to have to learn some aspect of this technology. And my advice, I've been telling people who've been asking me, well, how should I be thinking? You need to think, you are being forced to think like an entrepreneur. In other words, you can't think like, okay, well, I'm going to get training so I could do a job. No, the technology is designed in such a way where it's for people who think like engineers and creators. Well, that's pretty much one and the same. People who design things. Like some of the stuff I use right now, it's not just, oh, I can make pretty pictures and all that stuff. No, that's just one aspect of it. The tools that are accessible to us today, I literally have a PhD working by my side. So when I'm thinking about small projects or large projects, I'm asking it questions and I have to think like, okay, I want you to lay out for me all the issues, all the possible things that could go wrong with this. Now I want you to write out for me some solutions and what are some workarounds and blah, 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 whatever. I mean, you really got to think it all the way through. And by the time you think all this stuff out, you got yourself a whole work plan on how to be successful and how to build things. For those that are just sitting here thinking that, like someone asked, they said, man, where you getting that music from? Yeah, my own band. You know, my own band is called AI. All that's AI. I know what to put in there. There are certain things I want to hear, and I'll just put in there and say, hey, listen, create for me this with this style, that style, that style, and don't put that in there or whatever. And it'll just take a couple of minutes or whatever. Boom, I got me a whole album just like that. Or if I want something with lyrics, I can either write my own lyrics or I can tell it, hey, listen, this is the kind of song, this is the message I want to convey in this song. You know, make sure you mention this line or put this line in there and all that. It'll put it in there and boom, that's it. This is how it works now. So when I'm talking about like in the manufacturing space, we're at 2025 right now. We're already in 2025. By the time we hit 2030, which is less than 5 years from now, the job market is going to look a lot different. And so, like I said, so you're going to see when it comes to unions, their power it's going to get less and less and less, because all they're going to do, all Amazon going to do is they're going to say, okay, well, fine. Y'all hit the road. We got a whole team of robots that's going to take care of this. Some of y'all going to start seeing these Amazon trucks being driven by nobody. Ain't going to be nobody in it. And they're going to be able to hit their target and get everything done. They're already sending drones and delivering in some places. So this is the new reality that we are in right now. And this is how there are ways you can adjust, but you have to think on, how can I use this technology to, you know, maybe solve a problem or fix something or, you know, build something or whatever. There are plenty of ways that you can do that, you know, helping you to write a story or, you know, maybe do some deep research. One of the ideas I had was taking all the videos that we have done, you know, in our own journey, talking about the Bible and discoveries we're finding historically, finding out the truth of the historicity of the Bible and, you know, the role that the Canaanites play, all that stuff, right? I'm able to take all of that information. I have the tools at my disposal right now where I could say, I want you to look at all of these videos. I want you to take all the text, all the audio, the words that I use in that video, and I want you to compile it and I want you to put it in one big database. And so, and then once you do that, I want you to create for me a web app where someone can actually do a search. Let's say, for example, what role did the Canaanites play in putting together the Bible or something like that, or whatever questions that people may have, they'll be able to ask in that web app, whatever questions. And based on the data that I provided in all these videos that we've done, it will use that data as a repository and people will be able to get their answers. You know, sometimes people in the chat, they'll ask me, well, what do you think about this? Well, I'll say, go to my web app and you can ask whatever it is and boom, that's it. I can have that done within days if I wanted to do that. And then if I wanted to go even further, I can say, I can charge people for it if I wanted to do that. See, this is what I'm saying, the mindset that you have to have. Many people have been pushing so much data out here for years and years and years on platforms like YouTube or, you know, TikTok or whatever. Take that and make it more usable for people. So because you got people out here that have short attention spans, they don't want to watch a 1 hour video. Instead, they want to be able to ask you a direct question based on something you've already been saying on repeat for years. Now they'll be able to go to your database and be able to pull that information up just like that. And then it will point to them videos as reference, the videos that you produced some time ago. So this is how you have to think in this space that's happening right now. You can't just think on, you know, make me a song or make me look silly and put a filter on and all that stuff. That's a consumer mindset. You have to start thinking as a builder, an engineer, someone that's creating things. Okay, that's what's going to be very helpful for people in this time that we're in right now. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that briefly. But when I was watching that video, was it last night, and they were just talking about how these manufacturing companies just within the next 2 to 3 years are going to be pretty much all robotic. I was like, wow, that you talking about sounding the alarm. This is going to be really something. And a lot of people are going to be caught off guard and thinking that you screaming and hollering is going to change that. It's not. Robots don't care about, well, you know, you got the black robots. Why are the black robots always down here? Where it's cold at? And the white robots, why are they always in the office? They ain't gonna be. There will be no discussions like that. Okay, when you got a bunch of robots up there, they're gonna know their place and they're gonna do it, whether if you like it or not. That's the world we're entering into now. All right, so I'm just trying to tell you. Why the black robots? Why they always outside doing sweeping up and cutting the grass and all of that? And the white ones, there will be no discussions like that. So you better get ready now, because it is what it is. But anyway, let's move on. Let's get to when I was talking about this. You know, been talking about these Democrats, bro. Oh my goodness. They are, it's just, there's nothing. They ain't got nothing. And they are out here screaming and hollering, and, you know, and most importantly, I'm talking tonight, we're just briefly talking about many of the black women congresswomen are now scrambling, trying to find some way to get black folks emotionally tied back in, and trying to get black folks to get all scared and whooped up and all this other stuff. But they don't have anything. I want you to, so what I did was I found some videos I want you to take a look at and listen to. They're saying some pretty wild stuff here. And this is Ayanna Pressley. Y'all know her. I was going to, I know, I think, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say that. Anyway, so let me show you this video here. This is her. I want you to pay attention to something she said that sounds very, I had to take a roll when I heard it. Let's take a listen to what she's saying here in this video here. You know, because they just had another rally. I guess they're trying to rally up the troops and trying to get people all pumped up or whatever, you know, against Elon, the Antichrist. But let's take a listen to what she's saying. Listen, I want you to listen to this.
Look, let me tell you something. I'll take a bit of umbrage here. I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress.
Huh? Whoa. Back up. Maybe I didn't hear that right. Let's listen again.
Look, let me tell you something. I'll take a bit of umbrage here. I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress.
Censoring the American people and advancing progress. Now, why would they want to do something like that? Now, by the way, this was a rally that they were having in front of the CFPB. This is a credit organization that was set up some time ago by the U.S. government, and it was designed to protect consumers. And, you know, and when it comes to the credit, because you have, you know, Equifax, you know, the big three, right? And, you know, a lot of times these collectors and all that, they can cross the line. Bankers, sometimes they can cross the line on how they handle consumers. So this organization was designed to provide some layer of protection when it comes to consumers. Now, there's some things that I've heard about regarding this organization that seem like it's on the up and up, that they actually have been doing it to some measure. But there's also some things I've been hearing and seeing that, no, they're actually on the take from a lot of different organizations. So it's really a mixed bag. And what's unfortunate is that there are organizations, and I've mentioned this before, just because you may find an organization listed, even some of these churches that are listed in the USAID database, or, you know, or some of these other databases that are out here, it doesn't necessarily mean it's for nefarious reasons. You know, some of these organizations are actually doing some good. The problem is that a lot of these organizations are doing good with bad people. You understand what I'm saying? And so it gets mixed up. You know, a lot of things get mixed up. So I'm actually listening, trying to hear from both sides when it comes to this BP of F. What is it? CF. What is it? CF. Whatever. Y'all got what I'm saying. You know. Oh, CFPB. There you go. And so I'm listening to both sides on it, you know, because I think it's, in this particular case, there is a mixed bag. But when you're dealing with Washington, D.C. and all of the critters that are there and all of the systems, it's so entangled with so much mess. In a case like this, you may have to cut everything and start all over from the beginning. Now, let me tell you the other side of that, okay? Let me tell you the other side of that. Because the other side of that is, by cutting an organization like this, it does give banks a little more leeway in how they treat consumers, you know, where they can once again start crossing a line on some things and all that. Maybe they can become a little bit more intrusive with data and stuff like that. Yeah, so we are not under any misconceptions on this platform, because we also we understand who is actually running a lot of this stuff. Bankers are definitely looking for ways that they can profit off of this move and stuff. Of course, they want to get a new system in there, a system that they can have a much easier access to control and all of that. So everybody's looking at Elon Musk, but there's a lot of things that are attached to Elon Musk when it comes to, you know, some of the things that he's doing. Okay, it's good to, you know, chop down a lot of this stuff, but what's being replaced? And I've been telling y'all this even earlier in the elections. I said, you know, everybody's, you know, you got black folks out here trying to scare black people into other black people. Oh, they're bringing Project 2025. It's racist. Oh, Project 2025, Project 2025. And I said, it simply boils down to one bureaucracy is replacing another. And you know, we already know the one bureaucracy hasn't been working out for us. The one that's coming in now, you know, it's, we know, because of the people that ultimately run this system that we're in right now, ultimately it's not going to be for our good either. So I'm not under any misconceptions when it comes to that kind of stuff. But as far as anybody still trying to defend the status quo that's been in place all this time, especially when it comes to black folks and our own desire to progress, it's a bad argument. It's not a winnable argument. You know, nobody wants to continue the status quo, because the status quo sucks. I mean, for lack of a better term. I want you to listen to, this is at the same rally. Now, this is Emmanuel Cleaver, who's been there, he's 80 years old, y'all. I want you to listen to him. This is who black folks have representing them. And this is the kind of arguments they're bringing to the table here. I want you to take a listen to him, okay? And see if this actually shakes things up and how he communicates here.
Now, I'm going to be quick, because I want to send a message to somebody. Elon, take your musty millions and musty Moscow rights to the moon. Because if you don't, we're going to stand up, we're going to speak out, we're going to march, we're going to do anything we need to do to make sure that the people of this country understand that the CFPB is for them. You get your musty hands off of our money, or go to Moscow, you musty moon.
You musty moo. Yeah, that got the banks shaking in their boots. Yeah, I'm sure the U.S. military, they're on high alert on that one. 80 years old. I hope I live to be 80. But I don't want to, if I'm talking like that and I'm 80 years old, y'all, I just, no. No, please stop me. I'll just say that. You musty moo. We gonna march, we gonna shout, and we gonna. What's that gonna do, y'all? What is that gonna do? What's that gonna do? I'm asking for real. Maybe I'm missing something. What's that gonna do? All right, let me move on. Why you're really thinking about this? Because it is a deep question, right? Here is Ayanna again. Now we want to bring in reparations. Now these same Democrats were out when Biden was in office. You had different organizations out here that were pushing Democrats to push for reparations. And what was their response? Oh no, we don't need to do that right now. Right now, what's important is for us to make sure that, you got to learn to play the game. Remember, someone said that. You can't just go in and just be talking like that. You got to learn to play the game. So this is why we got to push, LGBTQ. We got to push that. We got to push all these other things. We got to make sure that the Ukraine is getting all the money that they need. Remember all of that? They were pushing money all over the place and telling black folks, shh, be quiet now. Shh. You don't want to wake up Uncle Joe. You don't want to wake up Uncle Joe. He's had a long day, and you need to hush your mouth with that reparations talk. How dare you come up in the White House and talking about reparations? How dare you do that? You don't do that right now. If anything, we need to make sure that every dusty man has a right to get a little girl dress and put on some makeup and go on out there and be the best version of himself. That's what our job is. But you, shh, don't be talking about no reparations. Uncle Joe sleep. He's asleep now. All right? We're going to go in there. We're going to sing him a little gospel song. Let him know that, Uncle Joe, everything going to be all right. And them loud Negroes, they are not going to disturb your sleep. But now, all of a sudden, they want to talk about reparations.
We can legislate justice.
Amen.
We can legislate healing. And we're certainly long overdue. And for those that would say we need to just get over it, that's interesting. When as a nation, you are benefiting right now from an economy that was built on the brutalized backs and the indignities and the horrors of chattel slavery and our African ancestors.
Now you want to bring it up. Now you want to bring it up. Now you want to bring up reparations because these 92% roof sitters, I was going to make a song about that. I probably still do. The roof sit, 92% roof sitters. It's going to be called Get Back on the Roof because that's where you need to go. You need to get back on the roof because you said you was going to be up there. Your tea's getting cold. Get on back up there. We don't need to hear from you. But but here's the thing, for those of you who are aggressively been out here pushing this reparations talk, here's the thing that I hope you guys do notice this, is that they wait until they get to a position of being powerless to now make this argument. They could have forcefully made this argument when they were controlling both the House and the Senate, but they wait until all of that's gone, and now they want to cry pole mouth now. Now all of a sudden now they can't, all of a sudden now we got to fight. We got to get out of here. There's got to be blood in the streets and we got to go to war and all this other stuff. But you could have did that when Biden was in office, but you didn't. Here's your auntie. For those of y'all, some of y'all be calling her your auntie. Here you go. What's she saying? What she got to say now?
The people of this country are being violated because all of our privacy is being taken up by Elon Musk and Trump, and we don't know what all they have on us. We don't know what all they have on us.
Well, here's the thing, that one of the things, you had Chinese companies, it was, I forgot what department it was. There was one department in that they found out in the government. I forgot what, once I find out, I will let you know. There was a department within the, oh, you know what? I think I bookmarked it. Now that I'm remembering now. There was a department within the government, our federal government, who actually was being ran by a Chinese national. I'm looking for it right now. I know I bookmarked it. So this was going on for the longest time. Apparently she wasn't too concerned about that. But now all of a sudden this stuff comes out. Now all of a sudden we don't know what the information they got on us. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Here it is right here. Here it is right here. Here it is right here. One of the let me pull this up here so you can see the whole thing here. One of the outstanding employees of USAID is Kathleen Wu from China, who directs global entrepreneurship initiatives and activities in developing countries and other programs. On Chinese official media, she promotes CCP initiatives such as Belt and Road. She also has she was also a leader of a pro CCP group, and it's called the Anhui, I don't know, association. The CCP infiltrated into USAID deeply and successfully. This is her right here. So you had a Chinese official who was working with USAID and taking taxpayer money and dishing it out for Chinese projects. This is how messy it is. And here you got Maxine Waters out here talking about, I don't know what information he got on it. You got whole Chinese folks in there, communist Chinese folks, taking the money and distributing it all over the place. You ain't nothing to say about that. Go back to sleep. Go on back to sleep. Always, I mean, they will always look like she has, like they just aggressively, you know how some people got this look, you know how you look when someone aggressively wakes you up? That's what she looks like all the time. Go on back to sleep. Anyway, let's move on. It was another video here. This is somebody else. They were lining up today, y'all. These last couple of days, they've been lining up with the foolishness, trying to get black folks just as scared and worked up about stuff. Here's another one here. Oh, let me, this is Kwame Mufumi. This is what he getting in trouble now because he talking slick. Democrat Representative Kwame Mufumi is facing backlash after calling for a street fight against Trump Department of Government Efficiency. And anyway, he said that he's calling for a street fight. Now, I'm going to give you an example of what I was talking about the other day in our last broadcast about some of these people are in for a rude awakening by talking very slick like this, but they're talking that it's very dangerous because it usually will come back on typically black men. We usually catch we catch hell for that kind of stuff because you get the wrong person hearing that mess and they'll take it off. And then first thing they're looking for is someone they can go off on. Meanwhile, he's safe. Anyway, let me move on. This is another woman here. Again, they mad, y'all. Here we go. Here's another one. And I got some other videos here I'm gonna play. You got some black women who are actually they're telling the truth out here. And I got a few of them I'm gonna put, you know, it ain't all black women. That's the thing I want y'all to understand. When y'all hear me focusing on, when I say 92%, I'm talking that specific demographic who were very aggressively out here pushing for Kamala. If I'm saying her name right. People been saying I've been saying it wrong, whatever. who aggressively was pushing that, willing to push their own men, throw their own men under the bus, willing to push policies that would destroy, obliterate the black family, and they didn't care. They didn't give two craps about that. That's the demographic. That's the subsection that I'm referring to. I'm not saying all black women fall into this category, all right? Because like I said, there are many black women who understand and they see the foolishness of this stuff. We're just calling out the ones that are out here that are throwing some very dangerous talk out here. They need to go on an island somewhere and go sit all the way down. But anyway, here's someone here. I want you to listen to what she's saying here, and it's another eye roll experience.
Black excellence scares Donald Trump. It scares Stephen Miller, and it scares Elon Musk. Because you know what? Deep down, they recognize their own mediocrity. And so they're doing everything they can to entrench the racial wealth gap. Okay,
that works in the church, but nobody out here in the real world is scared of black excellence, okay? So please stop. Please stop. Your hair looks wonderful. You got a nice little look there, but grandma, you need to go sit down. You need to sit all the way down. Nobody out here is scared. The United States Empire is not scared of black excellence. Anybody that's talking like that, they need to go sit down. That is not a fear. I don't get, I just, people live in this, I don't know, it's some kind of bubble they live in. He just doing all this because he's scared of black folks. What? What are you talking about? What that got to do with anything? So this is what I'm saying. They literally don't have anything. So now they're just throwing whatever they think is going to gin up and get black folks mad. That's what they're doing now. And it's like y'all literally are looking foolish and don't make any sense. You're not making any sense now. Go back to the roof and go drink your tea. All right, let's go. There's another one. I'm telling you, they're in full force right now. Here's another one.
Our government, no matter who is in power, has an obligation to right these wrongs, to provide reparations for descendants of enslaved Africans, to eliminate the racial wealth gap, to uplift the black community. White supremacy is rampant in this country. Just look at the current administration and our own legislative body. They have contributed to the social and economic harms, to racial terror black folks have experienced in this country. Now, more than ever, we must acknowledge and repair those harms.
And you had every opportunity all this time that y'all were there to address some of these things in a way that made sense. But these people, you always got to hitch every group in everything that you do. You hitching it. You guys are the particular group that I'm showing you. This particular group. They can't even say black people without saying LGBT. They can't even say black folks without mentioning Africa, the Caribbean, and all these other groups. It's just like a mind block. They have to mention all other groups and put us all in there together and say that we're all in this together. Now, all of a sudden, now you see the light. Go sit your behind down. Sit your behind all the way down. Sit your behind down. You had an opportunity to address this stuff, but you didn't. Now, all of a sudden, you want to talk this whole thing. White supremacy is holding us back and all this stuff. No, no, it's not working. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And like I said, and I there's a reason why, again, I'm trying to get folk to understand this AI revolution thing that we're in right now. People do not, I keep telling my wife over and over again, I said, my concern is there's a lot of black folks. There are black folks that are understanding and are getting it, but there's many who are not, and they're going to be left behind. And this whole civil rights, we're going to march and we're going to scream and we're going to do all this stuff. And you think that's going to change? It's too late. That ain't it. You can't compete with robots. You can't compete with AI. You can't compete. They ain't going to do that. They're going to tune you out. You can't compete with that. Do you understand? Other day I was on YouTube and I was just going through, and every now and then I'll come across a great live like this one. But I'll come across a great live and I'm like, wow, let me listen to it. Never heard the channel. No. But the topic was, it was actually an open discussion. It was like a conference that they were having somewhere in Africa. I want to say it was in Kenya. And it was an AI conference. And they had people from all over the continent that were talking about how they were going to implement, how they were going to use AI, and some of the obstacles and things and stuff that they're running into. There was one sister that brought up a great concern that I have, and I was discussing this with somebody over on the continent recently, because I was saying you keep hearing people saying AI. Who's developing it? Well, it's the Western people, white people are developing this thing. Jewish people play a very critical role in developing and implementing AI. Okay, again, I'm not swept up in this. I'm blind to this stuff. I point this stuff out all the time. I'm saying you can use it, but also be smart and know where to draw the lines and understand the real game that's happening. You understand? So anyway, so the technology that's changing things right now and readjusting things right now, technology in itself. Let me back up for a second, okay? Without getting too deep. When I say technology, when I say the word technology to you, what do you think about? Well, I'm sure most of you think about a cell phone, you think about the computer, you think about lights, you think about electricity, you think about those things, right? A lot of these things, for the most part, are westernized things that we call technology. We refer to these things as technology, right? But that's not necessarily true. I mean, it's technology in this era, in this space that we're in, but you also have ancient civilizations who also had their own technologies. They may not have computers. They may not have things that were machines that flew in the air or whatever, but maybe they figured out a quicker way to get water to a village, or maybe they figured out a better way, a more efficient way to catch fish or whatever it is. To them, that was their technology, right? And so technology, when you're looking at cultures, different cultures, it really means something different depending on the culture that you're talking about. Do you understand what I'm saying? What has happened over, I don't know, many, many years is that this world system has adopted a singular definition of technology. When you look at technology in of itself, just in of itself, when you look at a lot of these indigenous cultures, these ancient cultures, a lot of times their technology was rooted, it was always rooted in spirituality. It was rooted in their belief of the spiritual realm. When you look at these different, when you actually take the time and look at some of the technologies, it always would give a shout out or call out, or maybe it reflected something that they believed happens in the spiritual, right? Well, it's the same thing today. That hasn't changed. So the technology that we have today, it's a reflection it's rooted in to some measure to what they believe, their spiritual beliefs. You'll find that in, how the motherboards are laid out and how they view space and all this other stuff, right? It's always tied to their spirituality. So technology means something to everybody. Now, I said all that to say this, is that someone brought up a very good point in this AI conference that I was watching in Africa. And what they were saying was that, okay, we're taking on this technology, but how do we make sure that we don't get lost in this? In other words, how do we make sure that our culture and our DNA, our thumbprint is really the driver here, if you understand what I'm saying? And we're not just simply adapting to Western values and how they interpret and view things and all that stuff. And I thought it was a very great question. And they addressed it the best way they could, but it is an issue. So here you got in Africa, they're talking AI, right? And they're like really at warp speed, really to the best of their ability, trying to figure this thing out, how to implement it. Their first ways they're implementing it is going to be in the medical field. And they talked about the different things, some of the things I'm aware of. And then they also talk about banking and all that stuff. But medical is really going to be the first wave in that. And Bill Gates is part of that, unfortunately. That's what I'm saying. You're adopting their standard. You know what I mean? So you had that going on. But also you have in France, they just had a huge conference over there, AI conference. And they're talking about, France is really trying to take the lead in being a leader in AI when it comes to providing power, because all of these data plants that they're building right now, data centers, they got a huge, Tesla has Elon has a huge data center in Tennessee. There's data centers where I am in Phoenix. Phoenix is supposed to be the next Silicon Valley. They're throwing up data centers all over the place here. OpenAI has a lot of data centers here, and there's some other companies. Texas, there's other places too. Now, what do data centers need? They need power. So some of the ways they're looking for sources of power is gas, natural gas, solar to a certain extent, but they're really looking at nuclear power. So nuclear power is going to become a thing with a lot of these these data centers as they continue to increase. France is a leader when it comes to providing nuclear power. So they're trying to position themselves as well. My point is that these people, this movement is aggressive, is moving very fast, and we have to be very aware of these things and find our place somewhere in here. But if you just sit back or whatever, you're going to be left behind, unfortunately, and it's not going to work too well for you. But all this March talk and they're going to stop everything. You think they're going to stop all of that and say, all right, well, let's give them reparations? No, it's over. That's not going to happen. Like I said again, I'm with the argument. I do get it. I'm not against it. But what I also understand is the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is where we're heading. This plan does not include handing out billions of dollars to black folks. It doesn't. And unless you have a military, it ain't going to happen. And some people, I had some people leave a comment, oh, you just some old boomer and you just talking like that. No, I'm actually a little bit ahead of you if you think otherwise. I'm just saying it's not going to happen. And all that screaming and hollering, that's not going to change them. It's not. It just isn't. All right. So anyway, let's move on here. Let me share with you some videos. I told you got some sisters out here, too, that see what's going on. They understand what's going on, and they out here telling the truth. So let me I got a few videos here. I'm just scrolling all the way down to the bottom here so I can, okay, I'm at the bottom. So let me get to this first one here, and let's take a listen to some of these sisters out here that are out here. They coming out here and they talking. So anyway, here's one here. Let's hear what she got to say here, and let's go. Okay, there you go.
Democrats, y'all mad when y'all really should be ashamed right now. Y'all should be ashamed that y'all supporting the Democratic Party with all of the mess that they have been spending billions of hard-earned American tax dollars on within these last 4 years. Democrats should be ashamed to call themselves Democrats right now. I would not represent the Democratic Party. Y'all mad at Trump supporters, but I'm so glad that Trump came in office and he stood on business. Him and his administration immediately found out where billions of dollars was being spent. And you should be outraged that millions was spent for Sesame Street in Iran to teach binary languages to journalists. For bubble wrap? Come on now. Millions for bubble wrap? A bubble wrap experiment for stress relief? Democrats, you should be ashamed. You should be happy to have a president like President Trump that's coming in and trying to fix everything that the Biden and Harris administration messed up.
And she ain't lying. Listen, let me tell you, as we're going through this, let me say something to y'all, okay? Because like I said, we're going to keep it balanced too, because I want y'all to make sure you following along here. Never allow the matrix or the system to give you heroes. Never let them give you heroes. So that even applies to Trump. That even applies to Biden, or not Biden, or whomever, Elon or whatever. I applaud. I'm glad to see some of these things that people have long expected was going on, it's going on, and it needs to be exposed. I'm all for that all day and all night. But I will never, and I will not allow myself to see these people as some kind of heroes and all of this other stuff. I'm not doing that, and I will not allow myself to emotionally get invested like that. I'm just sitting back and I'm just watching, and I'm just like, wow, this is really, really something. It's something to see how this is all unfolding. Here's another lady here. Take a listen to her. Here we go. Let's pull this up.
Yesterday, I saw 2 video clips that really struck me. I kept seeing them over and over again. One of the clips was of President Trump in the Oval Office, surrounded by dozens of young girls, athletes, as he signed an executive order protecting women and girls in sports by keeping transgender women from competing in those sports. However you feel about the LGBT community, you have got to accept at this point that there is an advantage that comes with being biological male competing in female sports. It just gave very much grandpa energy. He signed that executive order. He wanted to make sure that his signature was perfect. He handed out pens. He gave hugs and shook hands. Like, that's what was going on in the Oval Office with the President of the United States. Then I see a clip of these damn Democrats angry, screaming their follicles out of their head, cussing and fussing about fighting in the streets and about going to war. And I mean, like, and just gaslighting the American people is absolutely unhealthy. They have to have high blood pressure. Then you have the elders of the Democrat Party barely hanging on, trying their best to come up with a chant, a war cry. They failed tremendously. And it's like, come on, like, y'all are gaslighting the American people. You want the American people to be up in arms. You want the American people to be unhealthy. These same Democrats that were in charge for the last 4 years, these same Democrats that were in charge for the last 12 of 16 years, when our life expectancies have decreased, the rate of heart disease, the rate of cancer, the rate of all these autoimmune disorders.
You got what she's saying here. And there's one more I think I have too, but she's right though. What she's right in what she's saying here. How you going to get mad and upset because you're laying a standard and saying, listen, we don't want no more dusty, rusty men in the bathroom of women. No, that is not the place for these men. If that's the life you want to live, then you live that life. But why is it always got to center around children? I don't understand that. But most importantly, that 92% that we keep referring to, they had no problem. That was the forefront of what they were pushing, the policies that they were pushing. They wanted that. They wanted that. So they will talk on one side of their mouth and say, yeah, we need to get reparations, but we need to make sure that these dusty, rusty men or these dusty, rusty women, they can get in and they can do what they want and all this stuff with the little children. And they get mad when you call it out. Don't link me with that. No. But they get mad. So for me, I definitely don't want to be associated with that. They should have been leading the way. They always are leading. They always want to talk about how we got to set an example for these little girls or whatever. But you were not there when he was signing that, saying that we're going to lay a standard and say the men's bathroom is for the men and the women's bathroom is for the women. Men's athletics is for men. Women's athletics is for women. I ain't seen that one of them people. Even stop it. I was getting ready to say something. I ain't seen that one of these people sitting up there and saying, you know what? I can't stand your guts, but I'm glad that you are laying down some kind of standard to protect these women. I don't see none of them. They got up. They so mad. They won't even, they just missed that whole opportunity. We don't hear nobody talking about that. And even no neck, Roland Martin, same thing. Nothing to say on that. But just always looking for something to, what he taking away our rights. And you hear that knock on the door? That may not be just a knock. That may be the ICE coming after black folks. That's right. You've been here for generations and they trying to scare you and thinking ICE is going to just snatch you in the middle of the night or something like that. Nah, go sit down, man. No, your money was touched and you're pissed and you want us to be pissed with you. We're not falling for that. Go take all your vaccines, take your booster shots, and go on, because the journey that you have to go on, you know how when you get ready to go on a ship, if you're going on a cruise, when you go on a cruise, they send you a list. They said, listen, you got to make sure you got all your vaccines and stuff, right? Well, the journey, these old folks, these old rusty, dusty people who are still saying the same stuff that they need to go on, they need to make sure they take all their vaccines. And I'm pleading with you, take all your vaccines, take all your booster shots, because you need to get on the boat and you need to take the ship. And you need to keep moving on, because you're not doing us any good anymore, period. You need to go. Anyway, let's move on. Here's another one here. And this another woman here. We're not going to play this one. This one's like 10 minutes long, but I'll just play part of it. Let's listen.
Well. I'm going to tell you right now, we need martial law now. Because every last one of our governmental elites are involved in some kind of financial scandal or scandal. I see that our American people are angry. They're mad about this. And regardless, we want to see some catwalks, some handcuffs, and some perk walks straight to Gitmo. Don't you agree? Like, let the arrest begin, because you got him. You got him, Trump. You got him, Elon. We need to start arresting some people. It's time we see some arrests. Because they talking about packing out the courts. Got 20 lawsuits already in the line against Trump and Elon. Y'all, our court system is not common law, okay? They don't belong to the U.S. Our court system is illegal. Them black robes that they're wearing, them sitting up on these benches doing judgment on the people based on their their pockets being increased, because if you get convicted of something, they get paid for that.
Yep.
It's all corrupt. It's all corrupt. And we the people have had enough. And I think God is looking down on this planet right now, and he's making the rats scatter. I mean, he making them come right out in the light so we can catch them. Because what they're doing, what they have taken our money and done, like, I can't even fancy you paying 50, I'm gonna round it off. You paying $60 million for a hotel, a fancy one, for some illegals? Well, North Carolina, Tennessee, Asheville, and LA at this point, and Maui, all under some type of disaster, and you offer them $750 that they got to pay you back?
Gosh.
That's their money. Remember, we got trust. Those bonds you sold under our birth certificate and our Social Security, yeah, you remember that? Yeah, well, we got money. You just been using it. Now we getting it back. So what you doing to these people and to the American people have got to stop. Man, I'm so sick of this stuff, y'all. I know y'all are too, because this is getting really out of hand, what they're doing. Financially, the stuff they're hiding. They think they can go to court and fight us for the truth over what they did, which is criminal. Let me tell you, if any court take that case and grant them any type of leniency, or approval, the court need to go too.
So where she lie? Where is she? What did she say that where she lying? She right. I mean, and this has been going on the court system. In fact, today there was a federal judge that actually, I think, overturned, because you've been hearing, like she said, there's been a lot of federal judges that they already got lined up and that they are already saying, no, you can't do this. You got to put up those LGBT sites back up. You got to make sure you give them their money back and all this other stuff right here. But they don't, that's not their jurisdiction. That's not their jurisdiction. It's going to end up going to the Supreme Court, where for the most part, they're going to verify that, yeah, we have an executive branch for a reason. You can't run the country based off of the bench. And it was one of the judges, they found out, well, his daughter works for one of these organizations that Trump's trying to shut down. So what she's saying, she ain't lying. It's all true. All this stuff is true, and it's all coming out. It's all coming out. Check this out. Now, this is the guy that is, I told y'all we have a whole lot. I'm trying to cover as much as I can. I hope y'all still hanging in there with me. This is a guy who's, and this is no joke. This is no joke. This is a guy who was hired to be in charge of an organization, a government organization called the Project of Government Oversight. Well, he just gave testimony up on Capitol Hill, and I want you to take a listen and just observe.
Waste is different from fraud. Fraud is different from abuse, and abuse is different from both. When we talk about improper payments, they are a subset of those other three categories. But that doesn't tell us the whole picture either. Sometimes improper payments are a function of bad record keeping. Sometimes they are a function of outdated information technology systems. Sometimes they come about through human error, and sometimes they come about through negligence. There are a variety of reasons why improper payments happen. It just simply is not the case that improper payments are only a function of bad people doing bad things with bad intent.
So he's trying to out-argue and say that, it's not always, and it's not always fraud. It's depending on how you look, trying to redefine it. Brother, you blind. I'm sorry. I had to say it. Maybe I'm at that age right now where I don't just dance around stuff. You blind? I mean, this literally had to be a joke. So this is a joke. I ain't got nothing wrong. I ain't got nothing against blind people at all. And that has no reflection on their intelligence for sure. It does not. But how are you going to be oversight when you don't have sight? I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, y'all. I'm just looking. I'm just looking, y'all. Don't get mad at me. I'm just watching. I'm looking. I'm listening what this dude's saying. Jesus. Bruh, how are you gonna be oversight and you ain't got it? You ain't got sight. And it's sad they put him in that position. That's wrong, man. That's messed up. That's messed up. That's messed up. But here they got this dude here trying to out-talk the whole, trying to do the Jedi mind trick stuff. And no, man, you need to, you already sat down. But anyway, they came across an interview. This was Jon Stewart. This was back in 2023. He did this interview on C-SPAN with the Deputy Secretary of Defense. And I want you to listen to how she is doing the same thing, trying to use the Jedi mind trick and trying to talk around, the fact that these organizations are wasting money. All right. So take a listen to this conversation.
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think? And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you and that you caused this, but I think it's a tough argument to make
sure
that
I didn't cause it.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for. If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it,
anyway, yeah, this is not the whole clip. I thought this was the whole clip, but you should have heard her response. She was like, well, there's a difference between waste and fraud. Okay. And then let me explain this to you, and trying to explain it. And he was like, okay, that says absolutely nothing. I mean, you literally get like $5 trillion or whatever, and then you're going to come up and like, I don't know where it is. You imagine you and I saying something like that. But I tell you, it's really fascinating to sit back and watch all this stuff because they're going after everybody. I mean, they're going after, someone was like, wait, I don't see y'all going after the Pentagon. Yeah, they're going after the Pentagon too. So this is all like really interesting to sit back and watch here. Let me shift gears just a little bit here. These folks, the 92%, they really was banking on that girl on winning. So much so they have a movie coming out on Prime where it was going to kind of be the icing on the cake to kind of highlight we got a sister in charge, even though we already know this one was Indian, but they had to get Viola Davis. I don't know if y'all saw this trailer or not. Viola Davis, she's in a upcoming movie or show. I don't know what it is. Where she's playing the president of the United States. Okay, we get it. You know what I'm saying? It's Hollywood, whatever. But just watch the trailer. Now, it's a Hollywood movie as far as I'm concerned. Now, let me just say this. Viola Davis, I forgot how she's a bit older than me, I think. A little bit older than me. But for her to be able to still pull off these action roles, a girl gets prepared. I mean, I still haven't seen, what was it, the Woman King? I don't have any plans on seeing that, quite honestly. But, people say, you got to see it. I just don't. You know what I mean? Again, it's the whole history thing and all of that. That's me. But you got to give it to her. I mean, she gets prepared for these action roles and she doesn't, and able to pull it off very convincingly. So you got to give her on that. But I guess I wanted to show you that because they were already planning on, this being the era of Kamala or whatever, And so it's just interesting, the timing of this movie. But unfortunately, it doesn't play too well because you got Trump in office, But this isn't the first time Hollywood has done this. I mean, they did this with Obama, right before Obama and his rise. You remember, all of a sudden now you go see these movies and then you got Morgan Freeman playing the president. Then all of a sudden they pull in Danny Glover out. And, it was so corny how they would do the introduction, it was like some big build-up moment that the president was black. It would be something like this. It would be like, the Secret Service, they're like, we got to go and talk to the president, okay? He's in a meeting right now. Sir, you cannot go in there. You cannot go in there. Sir, come in there. And then they open the doors up, right? And then the doors open up. And then, of course, the door's like this. The seat is like this. And then he turns around and it's a black man. It's Morgan Freeman. It's like, yes, as you were saying. It's got to be the whole dramatic, like, we're supposed to be like, it's a black man, like whatever. Yeah, it's the corny stuff, but Hollywood does play a role in these, You know, they that's what they do, you know. And so, no, I'm not going to be silly and say, don't you see this movie or nothing like that. It looks entertaining. It looks fun and all that. It has all this stuff in there that, you know, like any entertaining film, most of it is unbelievable. You know, you tossing men that are like 300 pounds, you know, all muscle and all, you know, they do the same thing with the girl with the Captain America. They do the same thing. I mean, girl be 5'1" and she flipping guys that are like 6'8", you know, and all this. So it's the same stuff, but it looks entertaining and all that. But I just thought it was funny because I say, yeah, they were really anticipating this being Kamala's moment anyway. And but it's funny how that played out. But anyway, a few more things here. Boy, I told y'all we got a lot of stuff, man. I'm trying to cover as much as I can for y'all because it's just there's so many things happening. Did y'all? I'll just say this. If let's see if I can find that. If I can't find it, don't worry about it. But take a look at that press conference that was done. I believe it was yesterday. It was Trump with Elon. Did you notice something? It was really something to me. One thing that really stood out to me, these people make it so obvious, y'all. They make it so obvious. You notice I'd be looking at everything. I'd be looking at the hand gestures and all this other stuff. And Elon, I'm trying to see if I find it. If I don't see it, don't worry about it. You can look it up on your own. But they do this thing. Let me see if I can find it. Don't worry, I'm not going to waste your time. But they always do this thing. They're like this. Yes, and so I'm here today just to let you know that, yeah, we're doing all this stuff. They always do this. Like, imagine y'all tuning into our live and I'm sitting like this. You'll never see my hands like this. This is not normal for me to hold my hands like this. I don't do this. And I know, so look, so grab a screenshot and goes, there you go. He's one of them, you know, no, whatever. But yeah, he was like all like this. It was like so obvious. And in this shot, it wasn't just him. His son was below him going like this, doing the hand gestures too. I was like, okay, this is too much. And then I saw this, they just set free this hostage yesterday. I know they're supposed to be setting free someone else soon. And when they set him free, let me see if I can pull it up for you. The politicians that were there, here you go. The politicians that were there, they were doing it too. Look, nobody does their hands normally like that, y'all. That's not normal. Nobody just sits there like that. So no, your eyes aren't deceiving you. No, all of these people, all of them are clicked in. All of them are clicked into something. That's why I don't be getting emotionally tied into this stuff at all. I say, y'all don't be all these folks are all part of the same gang. You got Democrats, you got Republicans, they all do it. But look at that press conference up Elon Musk. He was up there flashing it, but he was being way too obvious. You know, I know he's got that Asperger's, so you know it's got to be. They probably told him, listen, when you get up there, you better do it. You better do it. You know, he gonna make sure that the angles are right. So it was just way too obvious. Anyway, let me see what else I can. I know I got some more stuff here. Again, showing you why. Again, just because you have black faces in high places, it doesn't mean advancement for black folks. Here's a couple of stories here. Let me pull this up here. This is right here going on in LA. There's a couple of things here going on in LA, you know, with the fire stuff going on. And then I'll touch briefly on what was going on down in Conyers, Georgia, with the fire thing. LA top homeless official signed $2.1 million contract with husband's employer. And so basically, long story short, yeah, she's cutting deals in the name of the city and working closely with, you know, they're spreading the money, you know, with their friends and family and that kind of stuff. And, you know, if you read the article, it goes into that. Now, the argument for her case could be, well, maybe her husband, because a lot of times these organizations, they work so closely together. Sometimes there will be some overlapping. So you can give her some of that, but some of this is, as you get into it, it's like, no, this is a little bit more than that. Oh, it's not even on the screen. My bad. It's right here. It was right here. Sorry, my bad. This is the article right here. LA's top homelessness official signed $2.1 million contract with husband's employer. That's the article right there. You can look that up on your own time. Let me go back to Twitter, and someone pulled some other interesting things up about this story. Let's see. Let's get this up here. I'm telling you, this is going to be the era of receipts, because people are just pulling up receipts all over the place on folks now. I tell you, this AI technology, man, it's making it easier and easier and easier. Anyway, so her name is Valicia Adams. That's her name. Kellum. She works for the homeless, and she has a salary of just over $320,000 a year. That's something. Anyway, this is her right here. Check this out. She says, selfies with my sorority sister. You always know when it's sorority folks, they always going to take care of each other first, and other black people who aren't members, they're going to be second, and usually not even that. Selfies with my sorority sister, Dr. Valicia Adams Kellum, who is the woman who with the plan behind something Karen Bass's Inside Safe program, which is bringing the unsheltered off the streets and into interim housing until they transition to more permanent supportive housing. And then she goes on, continues to shout out the AKAs. So they always stick together. They're going to make sure that they taking care of one another on this stuff. Most of the time, all these people that you see screaming and hollering, and 92%, most of them are part of these groups and these organizations. All of them need to burn. My hope is to see a similar type of Doge situation where they start looking in the finances of even those groups for real. But I don't know if there's any courage out there for black folks to do something like that. All that need to be exposed. All these pastors that are part of these organizations, they need to be exposed. All of them. Anyway, check this out. The LA fires left us homeless. Now we are being forced to move before America got talent auditions. This is a sad story. I told y'all to keep your eyes on these folks, particularly these black folks out here who lost everything in these fires. I said, keep your eye on that, because what's going to happen, they're going to just slip out, and all of a sudden they're going to change the narrative on some other stuff. I told you that. And then now all of a sudden the fires came, and then all of a sudden it just, nobody ain't really talking about it. In the rest of the country, you don't really hear too many people talking about it. But those people now, they do not have homes. There are a lot of people, and I'm mentioning black folks, but you got all kind of people that lost homes too, Anyway, weary families, I want you to listen to this story. Weary families left homeless by the deadly Los Angeles fires have been told they need to vacate an emergency shelter site as it prepares to host an awards show and auditions for America's Got Talent. More than 2,000 displaced residents flocked to Pasadena Convention Center after the devastating Eaton fire ripped through the communities in January. At least 17 people were killed. Okay, we know that, right? And they talked about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were among the celebrities who came to comfort families facing a bleak future. The roughly 200 people left there are now being told that they will be moving to another temporary home, prompting them to ask why. The 56th annual NAACP Image Awards are scheduled to air live on BET from the Civic Auditorium at the Pasadena Convention Center, February the 22nd. With nominees including Usher, Cynthia, Kendrick, and Kevin Hart vying for Entertainer of the Year. But a lot of the black folks who lost their homes, the NAACP and BET is pushing them out so that they can give out awards. You let that sit for a moment and think about that. I wonder if they will even make any acknowledgement. They are literally pushing out homeless folks so that they can have their awards. Ain't that something? Authorities have also said they need time to clean up and to prepare before auditions for America's Got Talent, which were delayed from January the 12th to March the 10th because of the blaze. Irritated and frustrated residents claim interest in their plight has waned in the months since the fires began. Now they are wondering why they must move before filming of the production produced by Simon Caldwell. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Yeah, keep singing that as you kicking us out of the picture. Anyway, Christina Moore, 30, told Daily Mail that interest in fire victims has appeared to dwindle. She was on site when the Duke and Duchess of Sussex handed out clothes and helped bend cardboard boxes. But the star-studded visits and photo ops have dried up. Now she claims the award ceremony and TV show are forcing them out. They say they're cleaning things up for America's Got Talent. Gosh. Here's another one. Jasmine Morris, 23, also left homeless with her grandmother's house turned into ash in the disaster. There's been lots of irritation and frustration, she told Daily Mail. People have been confused. They don't know what to do. It's very distressing. To say we need this spot for something to do with television is not okay. But they're going to make sure that Kendrick gets his award. And see, the thing is, someone may say, well, Dwayne, listen, at least they're moving them somewhere else. But what is somewhere else? I mean, when you're dealing with a place like L.A., somewhere else needs to be clearly defined, and it must be of a quality that's livable. I mean, they just caught FEMA dumping $56 million to get these illegal immigrants into high value hotels. But now they booting these black folks out and just kicking them down the street. And LA doesn't necessarily have a lot of open space like that, is what I'm trying to tell you. So who knows where these people unfortunately going to end up. That's sad. And let's go to this story here. Again, LA, putting black faces in high places. Former lead recovery consultants at Haggerty firm hired by Bass, pleaded guilty to stealing disaster funds. So this woman here hired a company to to consult her, and they already got paperwork on them for taking money from other people. Two former disaster recovery experts at Haggerty Consulting, which LA Mayor Karen Bass appointed to lead rebuilding efforts after the recent wildfires, pleaded guilty in 2022 and 2023 to defrauding New York City of Hurricane Sandy relief funds. But yeah, you got to get them, you got to get people that look like us in these places so that, because we're going to look after each other. I mean, how many more examples I got to give on this, y'all? All of it needs to burn. All of it, burn it all down. Burn it all down. I don't care who's doing it. Democrat, Republican, it don't matter to me. Burn it all down. I just want to stand at a distance and just shake my head and be like, dang, I'm glad all this is happening. But I hope people are getting it, and I hope you are getting it. And you understand that, listen, yeah, this is a good thing that we're seeing, but at the same time, be not deceived. Because what's going to replace all of that is what we constantly be talking about here. Yeah, they're getting rid of this, that, or whatever, but the system that's coming in now, you better make sure that you're prepared for it. And all this screaming and hollering and we're gonna march and scream and shout and we shall overcome. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And you don't need to listen to people like that. We have to figure out, you as an individual have to figure out ways that you can maneuver and move about in this system that they're bringing in now. And it's going to be a system that is going to be data dependent. And the more information you feed it, the more they will be able to control you. Okay, it's a lot. It's deep. We talked about job opportunities and say we're going to do. I had asked y'all the other day on that job opportunities and or things that you can do to use this technology, but at the same time, draw your limits, draw your boundaries and how you use it and what you use it for and that kind of thing. I'm just doing one more sweep here. There's a lot of other things I could share here, but I'll just share this. Make sure y'all watch it. I'm not going to go over that post that I posted today. Just look over that when you get a chance. I thought it was interesting. I was just sitting here thinking about that. I was like, wow, this is really, really something. It was me circling back to the poll that we did on our community page, asking you guys about, what are some of the things, what are the things that you typically hear religious Black women who claim to have this prophetic gift, what are they using their prophetic gift when they're giving out prophecies? What are they talking about the most? And the overwhelming majority of y'all said that it's always judgment, 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 judgment on this person, judgment on that person, judgment on America, and all of that. And in the post, I talk about how the CIA took note of that years ago, and they used it. Yes. So I'm not saying these people out here today are CIA agents. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that amongst this specific demographic, not all Black women fall into this category. I got to be clear again. I'm talking about the religious ones who always tend to put out here that America's going to burn, this nation's going to burn, and people are going to die, and there's no hope for you, and you got to move out of the country immediately, and all this stuff. The CIA capitalized on that and used it for one of their projects. And I talked about that in that post there. And it's not just women. You got men that are out here today too. I can mention some right now. Some of y'all that know them very well that are encouraging Black folks to move to places like South Africa. There's one in particular talking about moving to South Africa. Let me just say this, because like I said, there's a lot more here. Maybe I could just go with this and then we can kind of close it out from here. Let me tell you something. Anybody out here that's telling you that you got to move to a country, whatever it is, first, and they're saying that that country is the promised land. I want you to ask them this. Okay, if this is the promised land, why is there a crime? Why is there a measurable crime rate? Why is there a poverty rate? This is the promised land. Why is there a measurable crime rate or poverty rate if this is the so-called promised land? But also, why do I have to send you money in order to build the AI imagery that you're presenting to me and saying that if we just put our money together, this is what it can look like? These are the same tricks that they were using years ago on Black folks. These are the same tricks to get you all out of place and you just all over the place. You in some foreign country somewhere and you just looking silly and looking goofy and broke on top of that. And they will use religion oftentimes to do this stuff. Telling you this is the promised land. This is where we're supposed to be. And this is where we're going to go. Okay, well, what did you build while you was over there? Well, right now I'm staying in the Airbnb, but one day it's going to be, well, did you build anything? Well, no, not yet. You'll be surprised the amount of Negroes that fall for this stuff. And so what we do is always look at history. We look at history. I'm not sitting up here and saying, rah, 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 we got to defend, you got to start wearing American pins and flags and stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is whoever ass clowns are out here that are trying to convince you to leave where you have got some roots and you've been established and you're doing quite well for yourself, and they're trying to get you to run away. If they're ass ain't over there and they ain't building nothing, then why are you following them? Why are you following them when they haven't built anything? The amount of horror stories I've gotten over the years of people who follow people like this, it will make your head spin. I would warn people, listen, don't go with it. They'll do it anyway because I have a dream, I had a vision or whatever, and you just go along with it. And in that post, I talk about how the CIA, they said there is a demographic out here. And we have taken note of that. Let's see what we can do with this. I'm just trying to tell y'all. Let me just say this here. Maybe I'll end off with this one here, and that's it. This is going back into one more USAID thing. I thought it was really something. They've been cutting everybody off. And it's funny how they've been cutting all these different when they cut off USAID, you saw exactly who has been getting that money. And these different countries, they're getting all kinds. I mean, it was crazy. And South Africa was one of those countries that was getting money from the United States via USAID. Take a listen to this right here. This was supposed to be some kind of report. NBC News, they floated this out. This was in Johannesburg, South Africa. Take a listen look at this video. This is wild. Listen to this.
Are you trying to go to the clinic?
Yeah.
It's closed.
What happened?
I mean, the USAID funding has been frozen, so they're closing down clinics.
I don't know what to do. Serious. What will I do? There's nothing.
Clinics like this are a lifeline for people in this community, especially women suffering from HIV. This one, now shut, is a huge disappointment for people just trying to stay alive.
So wait a minute, this is a whole country, South Africa. You're telling me that they cannot take care of their own women, that they need the United States money in order to take care of their women? And you've already heard me, I talked about we had the police, one of the top police people in South Africa saying that their number one group within South Africa that is bringing in them the most issues are black men. They're saying that. That's not me. That's not coming from white media. That was him saying it. This is a representative, high-ranking member of their police department, and they're saying, hey, this is what it is, and this is what we're dealing with. And so what she's alleging is that by cutting off U.S. aid, that these women in South Africa, they're not going to be able to get the care that they need. I shared something with the hotline group that we have on Threema, talking about how women in South Africa, in a number of these cases, how they're getting AIDS. It's really something, really something. I'll leave off on this, because one of the things I was reading this week, they were saying how AIDS is a blood-borne disease. In other words, it's HIV. Sorry, HIV. The way people are getting HIV, that will get HIV, is that there has to be a physical cut. In other words, if you have a cut or a laceration or something like that, that is how it gets into your body. Okay, you can't get HIV by kissing somebody. They even said there's a very low rate of transmission if you, as a woman, are having intercourse, just normal vaginal intercourse with someone who has it, because what we've been taught up to this point is that it comes by way of bodily fluids. It has to be a cut. So typically the way it gets passed during sexual intercourse, the reason why it was such a high rate amongst men or gay men is because how do they have intercourse? I'll leave that up to you. What's one of the main ways they do it? This is a PG broadcast, so I'll leave that up to you. Now, so that answers the question as far as men are concerned here in the United States or in the West. But what about women? Why do they have such a high rate? If that's what I said is true. Well, there's a study that I found, and I pulled it up. I showed it in the group. I think it's on my phone. But basically, where's my phone? Did she take my phone? She probably took my phone. Okay, you know what? I have it. I can get it right here. I know where it is. I have it right here. I could pull it up for you. It's right here. There is a thing that has been going on. They've been studying this, but it's something that has been going on for some time now. It's actually referred to as dry sex. And they did a study on this going back to 1995. And, just to get right to the details of it, what they're saying is that, I'm just going to tell it like it is. This is not, let me be clear, this is not happening everywhere in Africa. Not all Africans participate in this. Okay. But there are enough groups that where this is happening, where it is causing a problem. Okay. But it's not the whole entire continent. If you read it, it even tells you that. But what they're saying is what this is basically that there are some, men who, when they have intercourse with a woman, they prefer it to be very dry. Okay. And so what they will do is there are cases where they will use things like sand. Can you imagine ladies putting sand down there? There's other things, and they go into it like they put leaves down there. They'll even put smoke up there, or they'll eat. They said that one of the popular things is they'll eat a porridge. They'll make it dry. And see, by doing that, what happens is there's a lot of friction that comes about of that. And as a result, you have cuts and stuff that this study goes into and talks about that, and how there is a connection between that and HIV transmission. Okay. So this is a thing on the continent in some pockets of places right here, enough for them to do a study on it to find out, man, this is crazy. This is what's been happening. So I'm bringing this up because here in that video I just showed you, this lady talking about, oh, I'm not going to be able to get my help and all this stuff. Well, let's sit back for a moment. Why can't you as a country address that first? Because that has been going on, they said, in South Africa and Central Africa. These are the two places where they've seen this happen quite a bit. So instead of, why does that require American taxpayer money to address that? Why can't you address that on your own, on the street level in your own country? You understand what I'm saying? So these are the things that, like I said, again, it's just everything's being exposed right now, and the silliness is it's all being exposed. And yeah, it's really something. It's really, really something. You want to come in and
the vaccines that they just let run rampant.
Oh yeah, and the vaccines, of course, that they've been pushing and all of that. And I have I talk about this often, all these people that are screaming and hollering, talking about even with RFK. Again, I don't put my trust in any of these folks, but some of the things he's saying that he wants to see, I'm all for it. When it comes to pushing these different, these jabs and stuff like that, I'm all for it. But who are the loudest people that are saying that he basically needs to go jump in the lake? It's that 92%. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of information that's coming out as we're bringing this to a close here, that's coming out right now, and it's revealing exactly what people really stand on. Is there are a lot of people who like the status quo because they profit from it. And so they will use all kinds of things like fear and misinformation and all kinds of stuff like that to try to get you all up in your feelings and your emotions and all of that. What we try to do here is we want to equip you to look at these things as objectively as possible, celebrate these things that are good, but at the same time, it's always good to be a little skeptical and say, I'm with you, but I ain't, I'm not ready to, join any kind of party or nothing like that either, because there is an end game with all of this stuff. And the end game is to replace you. Let me just say that. Okay. This will be my last point here. All of this technology, the goal is to replace you. Okay. AI is designed to replace you. Those robots are designed to replace you. They have said this many, many times. The goal is to replace you. This is why they are pushing for universal basic income. Have you heard of that? Universal basic income. The reason why they're already boosting that up slowly but surely, because they realize that the workplace, that the world that they are developing right before our eyes right now, a lot of these people, they're going to be worked out of a job. So you got all of these humans that are sitting around not doing anything. So how are they going to live and survive? Well, we need something to get. They're going to need money, right? So they are slowly, you'll hear this, do a search on universal basic income, where everybody will get their little stipend every month from the government to be able to, buy your stuff and all of that and all that kind of stuff. But this is the end game. So what I'm trying to get you to get to is understand the technology. Don't be afraid of it, but realize that this partner that they are creating for us right now, this AI stuff, realize, okay, I can work with this thing, but I know this thing trying to eliminate me at the end of the day. So how can I do this thing smart, but at the same time, I'm protected and my family's protected? That's where we come in. That's what we're talking about. And that's the kind of things we focus on this platform. So anyway, I hope you're getting that, and we'll be having more discussions on this. And in the near future, yes, I will absolutely would like to do a video where we talk about the technology stuff in a little more detail, and we can really get into it so that, we can know what to do, particularly during these times. So that is it. I think that's all I have for you. I really appreciate you guys joining us for this broadcast here. There was a comment here I wanted to jump on real quick here. Who's this? What are they saying here? They said, guys like you always want to speak on other countries instead of the problems we have right here. Well, Rick, you probably just joined us at the last minute because we literally spent the whole broadcast talking about America. So you may want to hit that little button that's pointing backwards. It's called the rewind button, and you may want to check that out, okay? Because the overwhelming majority of this broadcast was about things going on in America. So, you know, you may want to start there first, okay? Let's see what else here. Someone else, they had a comment here. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, someone said here, if you stay, you're going to share in their punishment. So again, I know this is coming from a biblical perspective here, and I get what you're saying here. However, sir, with all due respect, where are you going to go? I don't have that kind of fear outlook, and the Bible is not my source of knowledge and inspiration. It's not, okay? And you know, so I don't share that fatalistic view that maybe you have, and you know, because the truth of the matter is, regardless of where you go in this world, you're still going to be part of this matrix system. That's just plain and simple. And so, yeah, so people that are out here that are pushing these narratives that you have to move, most of these people, if not all of them, do not, I would say most of them, I'll just play it safe and say most of them do not have any kind of active plan on what they're going to do wherever it is that they're going, wherever they're going. They don't. They're just fleeing and running, and that's it. But they don't know, at the end of the day, they don't know what's going to happen. They don't. They're just going because someone on YouTube told them they need to run and go. We don't do that, okay? And I don't encourage that at all. Now, what you do with you and your family, that's you. That's your choice. And I'm not even mad at you at that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad. That's your choice. Let me see if there's anybody got any questions for me. That's something you want me to comment on before I sign out. This will be the time for you to chime in. In the meantime, I'm just going through, see what else here. I mean, here's Rick again talking about Houston, Texas has the highest HIV rate in the world, bro. Speak on that. I can't confirm that. That's what you're saying, but I personally can't confirm that. But what I will say is, on this platform, we have spoken many times about HIV. We've gone all the way into the history of it, where it actually came from, who was behind it, the different doctors and stuff that was behind it, how it came here, how Black Americans, how we are impacted by it. We spent a great deal of time on that. So I know you're passing through, but I would just, again, encourage you to, you know, to kind of bone up on a few things here before you start shooting off like that, okay? Let me see who else. Anybody else? Anything else? I'm giving you time. Give you time to comment. You can ask me anything. I'm not scared. Okay, I don't hide behind any kind of you know, faceless channel or whatever. I'm here. All right, you can ask me whatever, and that's it. I'm still looking here. Big shout out, of course, to everybody that's in the chat. Every one of you, the ones that come out all the time. Wanea, of course. Let's see, we got. I'm trying to look at the regulars that are in the house. Bell Fam Creole. That's another one. Let's see who else. If I miss you, Peace in Mind Counseling. Shout out to you. These are just the ones that have, you know, that I see a lot. Okay, and I know there's Willie in the house. Gary. Overflow Enterprises. Let's see who else in the house. Empowered. Selfishness. Wow, I messed that up. I said empowered selfishness. No, that's not what it says. I was going by so quick. Hold on. Where is it? Oh my gosh, now I lost it. I 1,000 apologies. I'll say calculated crescendo. Okay, hold on. It was empowering empress. I think it was empowering empress. How did I get selfishness? You know I'm tired. Anyway. I think that's it. I think that's all. Let's see. So it said, I have a question. Ask it. Hurry up. Go ahead. Yeah, just go ahead and post your question. I'm not going to do a call in. So go ahead and post your question there. And then we'll wrap it up for the evening. All right, you better hurry up. I know there's a delay. Oh, what did the FBA say about the reparations thing? Okay, you're talking about what did they say? Oh, basically they're just like any of these other organizations. We need a check, and we need a check now, and stop delaying it. And the arguments make sense to a measure. They do, but like I said, it's not practical. It's not realistic. It's not. It just isn't in the. When you understand the system that we're in, they're not going to just hand off money like that. You can be on Twitter cussing every white person out. You can be on Facebook or YouTube saying all these slick things about white people and the system. They're not going to be shamed into handing you money. It doesn't work that way. And that's my point that I try to bring up over and over again. But when I try to bring it up to people, they get mad at me because they say, well, you just an old hag or whatever, and you just don't understand. It's people like you or whatever. I say, okay, then learn the hard way then. You know what I mean? Oh, they said that was correct. I said it right. I'm sorry, my bad, because I thought I was saying selfish. Oh, yeah, that's what you are saying, that selfish. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm tired. I got you. And here's Rick again. I'm giving him a little platform. It's amazing how you verify the HIV rates in Africa, but right here in this country you live in. Rick, go, if you want to verify that, go on YouTube, go on ChatGPT, and you can pull up the HIV rates for yourself, okay? Nobody on this side of the camera is saying that HIV is not an issue here in America. Nobody's saying that. That's in the theater of your own mind and your own imagination. You're saying that. In this specific conversation, we were talking about Africa. Now, if you want to have a conversation about HIV in America, we can have that. So again, take your tail, go sit down and talk to yourself on that. But you're trying to bring in all this other stuff in here that has literally nothing to do with the conversation that we were having. And nobody at all was asserting that somehow Africa is the only place where HIV exists. Nobody said that. Nobody believes that. That's you trying to create an argument. And I'm not here for that. Someone asked Carrie, let me see what that says. This is Gary Grant. He says, what do you think the Democrats need to do to recover? I just don't even know at this point. I don't know. Because they are still hanging on to identity politics. It's like that's a hill they are determined to die on. And that's what that's how they lost the elections. But they're going even harder with identity politics. And I think Trump has literally set the bar so high now when it comes to this. You're not going to be able to get another politician in, regardless if they're Democrat, Republican, and not talk about the amount of waste that they're uncovering right now. They're not going to be able to shift that because now Americans everybody's focus is on that. Democrats don't want to talk about that at all. So I don't even know what they can do. The identity politics thing, I think it's dead. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think I was thinking about this earlier. I was asking myself, I said, do I think that will there ever be a black woman as president? Because I know that's what they were shooting for. Instead, they settled for an Indian woman. But will there ever be a black woman as president? And my conclusion on that is, I don't think in our lifetime we will see that. I think this was their closest shot they had to get to there. But in this climate right now of identity politics, because right now that's the only way you will see a black woman, a real black woman, even get close to the White House, is that she has to play that game of identity politics. I just don't think what people are seeing happen now is something that a lot of people have been wanting to see, regardless if they're Democrats or Republicans. And I just don't think that we're going to, that the identity politics thing, I think it's dying. And I don't think they're going to be able to bring that back up. You know, and so as long as Republicans or rather Democrats are committed to that, they're going to stay losing, you know, and that's just kind of what it is, you know. Yes, that's my thought on that. I don't know what they can do at this point. Yeah, so it's all being exposed and it's all coming out. A lot of this stuff is coming out and there's going to be more to come. So stay tuned. So we'll be covering more of that as we, you know, go about, you know, this week and all of that. Really appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in. And thanks again. You guys take care and make sure you check out our website. We have sambatree.com. The website, again, is sambatree.com for all your health and wellness needs. Make sure you check that out. Again, the website is sambatree.com. And then later on tonight, I will chapter this broadcast out so that make it a little bit easier for you guys to navigate through it. Okay. All righty. There you go. You guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your week. We'll be back again soon. Take care now.